over fist for the city that is hosted in and for the league office.
Yep.
It's unbelievable now.
All right, guys, we have our first guest joining us right now from NBC Sports Philadelphia. He's got some great stuff today, man. Go to NBCSportsPhiladelphia.com and check out all the stuff, all the work that Dave and his colleague Ruben Frank are doing there at the Super Bowl. Dave, first off, good to see you, my man. I appreciate you hopping on. I really liked you and your guy, C.J. Gardner-Johnson. You got the tables turned on you a little bit. You were getting interviewed there, Dave. I thought that was pretty neat, man.
Yeah, it was fun. He's an interesting guy, and I've gotten to know him fairly well throughout the year. And I think, like, I was just telling someone, like, that's the benefit of being around the team for, every day. It's like you get to know these guys, and then when you get to the Super Bowl where it's kind of crazy and there's media members from everywhere, it's like, some of the guys that tried to avoid you all year, didn't want to talk to you, are now like, oh, at least I know him. Like, I want to go and talk to him. He's been with us all season. So that was fun. The whole event last night, it's crazy, but it's always cool. Because honestly, it's still good for reporters because, like, the craziness happens, but that means that there are other guys people aren't talking to. So I kind of sneak away and got some good stuff last night. It was fun.
What was the weirdest?
I'm so glad.
What was the weirdest thing you saw last night? Give me the weirdest.
There was one guy dressed in a barrel.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I saw that.
Yeah.
There was another guy dressed as a giant stick of Old Spice.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, just wacky stuff,
Okay.
There were some celebrities there apparently, but this is how I know I'm getting older. I didn't know who any of them were.
With the Grammys the other night, you don't know who anybody is. Yeah.
Yeah. They had I remember in 17, JB Smoove was there.
Right.
I was like, at least I know who that is. Last night, yeah, I could tell they were someone important because people were paying a bunch of attention, but I had no idea.
Gotcha.
Hey, Dave, it never ceases to amaze me when you go to events like that now for Super Bowls. All the shameless promotions that go on. You have some entities, some websites that'll have a kid go up and ask a mic because a player's not going to say no to a kid. You have some of the women who are dressed like they should be basically borderline and Playboy playmate, stuff like that. That'll get questions answered because players are not going to turn them away. And you get the people that bum rush the stage. You're trying to ask legitimate questions, and certain like GoDaddy and stuff like this. Can you do a 10-second promo for us? And players are like, huh? Now some of them will do it, but you think about the volume of money people will play, organizations will pay, hotel, airfare costs, just for a 10-second answer. If they get what they want, that makes the entire trip worth it. Not inside journalism, not one-on-one interviews, just to get somebody that's well known for this game to get you to do a free promo for them.
Yeah, it's crazy. And it's fun, though, kind of. Like, it's fun to see the circus. And it kind of dies down a little bit after media night. Like, media night that's just what it is. Once they get to the team hotel where all the interviews will be the next few days, it's a little more like football based and it gets back to normal. Yeah. It's just, you get one night of a circus, and the NFL can get away with putting it in prime time, getting fans to pay to sit and watch interviews happen on a big screen. And like,
unbelievable.
People are cheering, and it's just funny to me. I get it. It's like, if you're in town, you might as well go. But it's funny to me, like a dad's telling his son, come on, son, let's go watch Patrick Mahomes get interviewed. It's just a weird thing. But
right.
The NFL can do it, and it's just a monster of a league right now. So they push it as far as they can push it, and this is the result. But it's fun. Like, I think you just, there was a moment last night where I'm just like, I get a little claustrophobic, and there's just this crowd of people, and I'm like, I got to get out of here for a second. I got to breathe, and then I'll come back in. But you know what you're signing up for.
Right. Well, let me ask you this, Dave. Two-part question. Who was the best interviewee that you had yesterday? And then also, who was the best interviewee for the entire season? Who would you say is your guy, your mark?
Well, last night I tried to talk to some coaches because the coaches were available. So I talked to Aaron Moorhead for a while about
wide
the
receiver
dynamic.
coach.
Yeah, the receivers coach, about the dynamic between Devontae Smith and AJ Brown for a story I'm writing for tomorrow morning. good insight. And it's a moment where, you know, a lot of the position coaches aren't being bothered. You know, they're kind of sitting off in the corner while all the players are kind of living it up. So you have a good opportunity. I spoke to Aaron for about 10 minutes yesterday about that dynamic. So that was, I think, the coolest thing. I also spoke to Roy Ispin, the assistant offensive line coach, about Jeff Stoutland. I mean, he played for Stout in the late 80s at Southern Connecticut. They've coached together now in Philly for a while.
Southern Connecticut, that's where Chip went?
There's like a little pipeline. But
wow. Okay.
yeah, so you know that stuff was valuable. But as far as like players throughout the season, Slay's always fun. He's you ever like listen to a podcast at 1.5 speed? That's Slay all the time. He's just always going. He's a blast. Obviously, BG is always fun. It's a good locker room. It is, and it was a good year to be back in the locker room. I think for reporters, like that, the time away during COVID kind of made us appreciate the relationship building aspect of the job, and like getting to know the players a little bit, and even like not interviews, but like, you know, getting to shoot the breeze a little bit with guys, and you get to know them, and that all pays off when you're at the Super Bowl. Now it's like you've spent time talking to these guys all year, and now they have time for you on the biggest stage. And that's the cool aspect of the job that I didn't realize until I covered the Super Bowl in 2017, is like that they kind of feel like you've been in it with them all year.
Dave, let me ask you this about Hurts. And look, it's going to sound like a weird question because he's been on the national stage a ton, Alabama, Oklahoma. It's not like he was at, you know, some community college nobody ever heard of, right? And then he, you know, has been the Eagles starting quarterback now for a couple of years and had a great year. But do you think this is an opportunity for people to really get a feel of what this guy's all about now on the grandest of stage from a nationals, all the stuff that we already know, I guess, you know, from covering, we know, et cetera. Is this that opportunity where people are going to be like, damn, this dude's impressive?
Yeah, I think so. And I think it'll be off the field and on the field. It's funny because he's 24 years old, and it struck me last week that here's this 24-year-old kid about to play in the Super Bowl. And I realized like that should be a bigger storyline, that he's so young in this game. And it isn't, because of what we know about him and what we've seen from him in the last 3 years, that he's so mature and wise beyond his years that I'm not really worried about the stage getting to him or the pressure or the hoopla. Like, he played it up a tiny, tiny little bit last night because he knew that's what was required of him, and he had some fun. But I think he's going to be all business from here on out, and he kind of sets that tone for the rest of the team. To be a leader at 24, like, you're going to be the leader if you're the quarterback, is just kind of a prerequisite, but it's so natural for him. And the guys look at him, and I think he has more of a calming influence than the head coach, who kind of wears his emotions on his sleeve a little bit. That makes for an interesting dynamic, because Jalen is, I mean, I always go back to that Doug Peterson mic'd up moment from 2020 where he's talking on the field pregame, and he goes, sometimes you got to check if this guy has a pulse. And that's just him all the time. And I think when you get to these big moments, that really matters. You know, it's like it's easy to get overwhelmed by all of this, because it is different. And NFL players are creatures of habit, right? It's like you have your routine and you go through it every day, and you try to replicate it when you're at a Super Bowl, but you just can't. Like, it's just different. You're in a hotel, and the timing is different. We're in mountain time out here, so everything just changes a little bit. So if you have that steadiness to you kind of naturally, it allows you to get past all that stuff. And I have no doubts that Jalen will rise to this level, because he's not thinking about it like that.
Hey, Dave, Jeff Lurie is usually so close to the vest. He doesn't like to give a lot of stuff away, but were you surprised he came out and basically said, we understand that Jalen is a franchise quarterback now, and he's going to get paid at this stage?
Yeah, I mean, I get why he wouldn't say it, but
right,
there's no reason not to say it. We all know the situation. There's not going to be any discount for Jalen Hurts. I get a lot of questions like, will he take some hometown discount to really help the team? I mean, possibly like a very, very, very minor one, but this dude's about to get paid. And You look at the contracts around the league, I think there's a little pressure to try to get it done before some of the other new quarterback contracts come in. That's the only way you get a discount, is if you set the bar and you don't let someone else set the bar that then you have to clear. That's just the way contracts work. One player gets paid and then that becomes the starting point for that next contract at that position. So if they can kind of sneak in there, get it done, set the bar, and then other people, you guys climb the ladder a little bit. I think that's the way to do it. But you look at the contracts in the NFL, quarterbacks aren't getting paid 20 mil. They're not getting paid 30 mil. You're starting off in the 40s. And that's just what it is right now for an elite quarterback. And it changes the roster composition because now you have to allocate it, but they'll backload it with the thought that eventually the cap will keep rising, which in the NFL, they're printing money. It's going to keep doing that. So you can structure it in a way where it doesn't kill you immediately. It keeps the window open while he's still young and at an MVP level. And it hopefully helps them fill out other spots on the roster. It's interesting. We haven't seen any in-season extensions this year, right? Think about last year. They extended the entire 2018 class minus Matt Pryor, who was gone. So you had extensions for Mailata, Sweat, Goddard, and Avonte Maddox. We have not seen, and even like a minor one for TJ Edwards, like they were making moves to extend guys. We haven't seen that this year. Yeah. And I think the reason, or at least one of the reasons, is probably because they have to figure out Jalen Hurts first. And then once the big fish is in the boat, then you can figure out the rest of it.
Yeah, I mean, considering the fact you only have 4 starters that are under contract next year. I mean, just 4, so that's going to be tough for Howie, man. But looking forward, looking at Jalen Hurts and how this team respects him. And him, when he first stepped in the locker room, Fletcher Cox said, I mean, this guy commanded respect from the time he walked in locker. And that's a defensive guy saying this. What are the subtle, mannerisms or sayings that he said up on the podium that, that are, kind of Jalen Hurts-esque?
Yeah, he does a lot of that. These are like aphorisms. He just speaks in them all the time, whether it's rat poison, whether, job's not done.
Yeah. Money left on the table.
Once you take a deuce, you don't look at it.
You rent due every day. It's a lot of that. Sometimes he says them, they sound good. You go, like, I don't know what that means exactly. But, it's the way he operates, and it's cool. Like, he's a cool guy, right? Like he talked last week about his idol being Michael Jordan, and he's like kind of young to be a Jordan guy. Like most guys his age were Kobe guys, if you're an NBA fan. But he kind of has the cool MJ feel to him. It's like everything is suave, everything is very thoughtful, but he's interesting on the podium. He doesn't give out a lot. But he has those sayings, and the players respond to it. It's so much got made about Carson not. Sorry to bring up Carson Wentz, but like him not connect with everyone in the locker room. And it's not even like a knock on Carson. It's just some guys have that special something that allows them to connect with everyone. And unfortunately for Carson, like his 2 backups have had it. Nick Foles had that ability, and Jalen has it too. And it's just like a natural thing that, like, sure, they work on it, but their starting point is just really high. It's a really high level. And he's good at that. And he makes everyone feel like they have a connection to him. And it's kind of like Nick Sirianni, honestly. Like those guys have that ability to make everyone feel special. And that matters when it comes from a leadership perspective.
I'm
Dave,
so
what's the schedule here?
I got to write a prediction for you this year.
What was that?
I say I'm so glad this is the last time I have to write a prediction for you this year.
I'm glad, man. I'm gonna have to find you. Find you out here.
Could you write your prediction? I mean, where's your prediction now? He's texting me all the time. I'm like, dude, I'm not going to. No.
I'm gonna be busting down your door at the hotel for a prediction this week.
What's the schedule today, Dave? Like what is? Did they get back to normalcy here? How does this work for the next couple?
A little bit. So today everything's a little earlier. So in a few minutes here, we'll be heading over to the Eagles team hotel, which is where all the media is. So today was the one day you had to pick Chiefs or Eagles because they're at their own team hotels and they're like 45 minutes drive apart. And today they're kind of back to back, whereas Wednesday and Thursday, the Chiefs are in the morning. There's a good window in between, and then the Eagles are later in the afternoon. So today they start, I think, at like 12:30 Mountain Time. So it's a little earlier. The next few days after this, they get done pretty late. I think they finish at 5:15 Mountain, which is 7:15 Eastern, which, and we're coming back. We're doing podcasts, and it's like all of a sudden it's 9, 10 o'clock. It goes pretty quick.
Yeah. Hey, Dave, I've told you this before. One of the things I love about you beyond your writing expertise is you're a world-class traveler. This dude has traveled Amazon by himself. I mean, just crazy places. And so we were texting back and forth this morning, and I said, okay, where are you going to go this time in Arizona? I said, you're going to head to Sedona Mountains. We've both been there. One of the most fabulous places to just explore, breathtaking. And so where have you gone so far, and where do you plan on going while you're out there?
Yeah, it's tough. This week is so busy. Yesterday, I just went to the closest little park to downtown Phoenix. It's called Papago Park, and it's kind of an urban park, but some good rock formations out there. So did like a little 3-mile hike. Maybe Friday or Saturday, if I have some downtime, I'll try to get to another little park. It's just tough. I mean, Super Bowl week is
you grind.
It's a monster. There's not much free time.
I hear you. Dave, keep up the good work, man. You can follow him on Twitter at Zangaro NBCS, and of course, NBCSportsPhiladelphia.com. All kinds of great tidbits, and you have the Eagle Eye podcast with Rube. I think you guys have Peter King. Is that the latest?
Yeah, we recorded with Peter this morning, so that'll be out later today.
Awesome.
All right, Dave. I got you for lunch, bro. White Castles it is, bro. Just let me know.
Don't do it, Dave.
It's on tape. It's on tape, man.
Don't do it, Dave.
Yeah, I'll hold you to that.
Okay. I can take you to a real nice place.
That's right.
Steakhouse 44. Don't let them get you into White Castle, man.
Get some good barbecue, man. With Dave,
company money, man.
Yeah, we appreciate it, Dave.
All right, fellas. Take care.
Thanks,
bro.
man. That is Dave Zangaro from NBC Sports Philadelphia. Good dude, Dave. Excellent writer. There is a lot of good insights there from him. All right, when we come back here, guys, we are going to do a little fun exercise here. Better team. This present-day Eagles team, 2017. We'll do some compare and some contrast coming up at 1. We'll dig into the Chiefs' weapons. Now, there's a guy I don't think is being talked about nearly enough who is going to deserve some attention here. We'll get into that as well. We got Super Bowl props for you guys. These are real ones, not the ones that I usually make up. We'll look at the Eagles free agents. Dave made reference to it a little bit earlier. We got a lot to do, a lot of Eagles in store for you over the course of the next 2.5 hours. Don't go anywhere. He's D Gunn. He's Barrett Brooks. I'm Rob Ellis. We are Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. Let's talk right now about the man himself, Jim Murray and Principal Financial Group. All right, finding the right person to invest. You work too hard not to have the right person, not to let your money work for you. I found the right person, and it's Jim Murray and Principal Financial Group. Look, I've entrusted my IRA, my 401k rollovers with Jim. I couldn't be any happier for you. It could be retirement planning, 401k review, insurance review. You might have a small business. You're trying to get those employee benefits off the ground. It's another resource that Jim can help you with. Give him a call, 610-996-4751. 610-996-4751. That's how you reach him. You can also email him, Murray, MURRAY, .Jim at principal.com. That's Murray.Jim at principal.com.